Hi, sorry you guys. I'm glad the audio just connected. Welcome to NikkiNights. Because I may have been cursing out Zoom. But we got it together because I'm so thrilled for my guest today. I know you guys are used to seeing me with full hair and makeup. I went au natural today. I even there's some stuff I didn't even cover my zips today because sometimes you just gotta show the real, and that's me. So Scott Hamilton today is about to see the real me. No makeup, no hair. I'm doing the Home Alone, but I can't wait to meet Scott Hamilton. So here we go. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Hi,
Hi,
how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Where are ya?
I'm in my little home office
I'm in the salon.
in the salon. I love it. Yeah, this is, I'm going to turn the light down just a little bit. It's a little bit, I feel like I'm in an interrogation room and not my office. Hold on. Just a little, just a little. There we go. That'll soften it a little bit. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Thank you so much for doing this and chatting with me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. My pleasure.
I have
You've
to.
had a big life.
Oh my gosh, I've had something.
I know,
I
isn't it
have to tell
crazy?
you, I have been a massive fan of yours. I Figure skating for me has been something that I've been watching since I'm a kid. Been totally obsessed with, and
Oh,
you were like my childhood skating idol for sure.
oh, thank you for that. I mean, my goodness, it's really amazing because all of it was just sort of like this beautiful accident. It's like I found something that I like to do, and then I just kept working at it, and I failed a lot, and then
We
I
all
just
do that
started. Yeah, yeah. It's still the lighting is still bothering me. Hold on one second.
for sure.
Usually it's not this bad, but I think it's just that overhead light. Or maybe it's just, I don't know, maybe it's my bald head. I don't know. It's gonna make it a little softer. There we go. That's a little better. Or is that too dark? It
No,
feels dark.
I'm just in like I'm in a very bright room, which is normally I had a guest say to me once at my home on Long Island. I film it in my back room, and it was dark out, and the room is just all like sunlights and windows. And he said to me, "You do an amazing job of just making the focus all on your face." And I was like, "I'm probably intentionally trying to do that, but
I'm
whatever."
gonna I'm gonna do one more thing with lighting. Well,
Sure.
I know you look great. You look
Oh
awesome.
gosh, thank
I'm
you.
gonna turn this one up and I'm gonna get some more um, over here, here. And then maybe it'll fill it in a little bit better. Yeah, normally it's like really overcast here today, and so it just sort of, I don't know, feels like.
It's so funny with like the Zoom and the home offices. It makes me appreciate the lighting teams so much more on sets
Yeah.
because oh my gosh, it's been a challenge for sure.
Oh, big time. We started doing podcast interviews. We're just assembling them now. We've got like 6 or 7 done, but we got one of those donut lights, and it looks great. But I couldn't do it for this because it's not set up like that. So I'm on my home computer, so it
Well,
works for meetings, and it's not like I'm not like this, where it's like,
I know
okay,
that's how my
it's a
dad
little too
FaceTimes.
close. Back up.
That's how my dad FaceTimes. I'm like, "Hi, Dad." He's like, "Hi, how are you?" I'm like, "Stop, back it up, back it up." But so growing up, I wanted to tell you, I grew up with Sarah Hughes.
Oh, I love Sarah. I felt so bad. She just texted me that her father passed away from
Oh my
cancer.
gosh, I did not know.
I hate cancer so much. And yeah, I've gotten to be close to the family, and oh my goodness, they're a riot. All they do is laugh.
I
All
know,
they
they're
do
beautiful
all day,
people.
every day is laugh and smile, laugh and smile. So,
I grew up, I grew up across the street from an old ice skating rink. And I would go there after school and I'd go there on the weekends and I'd rent my skates and then I'd see Sarah on the ice or she'd be coming from like, ice time and her and Emily. And one time I traded Emily. She was coming up to Canada, and she said, we were filming Hairspray up there, and she said, oh my gosh, you know, I said, do you want to come to set? She goes, yeah. I said, okay, as long as you bring me to an ice skating thing in the future. I was like, I'll trade you. Um, but where's one of like the most wildest places you've gotten to travel for ice skating that really just blew your mind?
South Africa was one. Australia was another. The craziest place I think I ever really skated was they put a plastic surface on one of those tour boats in Paris. And so I got to like skate in front of the Eiffel Tower and Notre Dame. And I mean, I got all these really beautiful sights, and it wasn't very big, but I got to skate in front of all these amazing places. And that was really cool. It's kind of skating is, and that's why South Africa was so unique. It's because it's not like a skating center. They decided, a big hotel owner wanted to have a competition down there, and it was right after I turned pro, and I was like, let me check my schedule. Okay. And so we were there for like 2 weeks, and it was really insane. It was just crazy. But it's like normally we only go to places that where kind of skating is popular, or they have like competitive skating, and that would bring an audience. But rarely would I ever go to places where they didn't have skating, and that's why Africa was so exotic. And even Australia, they do have skating there, and they've got some good skaters there. But I was there for 3 weeks doing clinics and ice shows back when I was competing, and I fell madly in love with the country. I always thought, if anything ever happens to America where it's like, you can't live there anymore, Australia.
Yeah. I went to Australia and I fell in love with it. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, people there really know how to live.
Yes.
They just get it. They don't. I don't know. They don't live to work. They work to live. And so it's kind of one of those things where, yeah, I'll do this, but I really like my party times, and I really like my time, going out and doing what I want to do, and there's just their personalities and the accent. Oh my goodness, it's like, man, just melts.
They could curse me out up and down, and I'd be like, again, because it just sounds so.
Yeah, hit me, go.
Do with your best shots.
Yeah.
But I have to say, so I was watching you. I believe one year I went to Stars on Ice, and I believe you were there, and you did a backflip, and I lost my mind. How did that even start? And
I there was a couple guys that I saw when I always thought maybe it'd be fun to learn one. And then when I turned professional, I joined the Ice Capades. That was the first professional gig I had. And there was Robert Wagenhofer, who was one of my old competitors, and Paul Heath were both doing backflips in the show. And I was watching, and I'd watch the crowd reaction. I was like, oh yeah, give me some of that. And so I knew that within the next, year, 2 year, I'd be competing as Robin Cousins, and he had a backflip. So it wasn't like I wanted to go into a competition without something that my competitors had. So I took my first lesson at Snoopy's Ice Palace in Santa Rosa, California, from a guy named Skippy Baxter, who was the first one ever to do a backflip on ice skates. He was crazy, like really crazy. He was a big ice show skater in the 40s, and Dick Button was winning everything, the Olympics and the Worlds and all that. And Skippy was, like, from everything I've heard, he was almost as good as Dick, but he was in the ice show, so nobody really knew much about him. But he was really like, I think if I go backwards really fast and I stick my toe in the ice, I bet I could get over on a backflip. That's kind of how crazy he was. So I took my first lesson from him, and I thought, okay, his technique's a little scary, because he didn't really leave that whole stick your toe in the ice and just go over backwards thing. So I was like, okay, I got to get something a little more structured. So I went to a gymnastics coach in Virginia, and we started working on the movement, because anytime you do anything in skating, there's rotation. And if you go up for a backflip and you rotate, you're going to stop and land on your head. So I had to really teach my body how to stay square. And so I just did gymnastics on the trampolines and foam pits and swimming pools and tumbling runs or whatever, spotted. And then after, I guess about 10 or 11 months, I went to the ice and I tied a rope around my waist. And then on either side were like big, strong guys. And they were there to kind of guide me up and down, just to make sure if I freaked out that they could hold me up until I was able to not land on my head. And so I just did it that way. And then they get further away, and then one guy goes away, and then the other guy goes away, and you're doing them on your own. And then you start landing on your head a little bit, and you go, okay, time out, back to the basics, and you start teaching your body how to do it again. And pretty soon, like I wouldn't leave home without it. It was like, oh, this thing is in my arsenal, and I get more response from this thing than anything. So I'm there to entertain a crowd.
It's absolutely mind-blowing. I remember sitting there and just being blown away that, first of all, Scott, I am a klutz, okay? Entire freshman year.
Hardly.
Was spent in a cast, okay? I tore the same Achilles tendon twice. So I'm a very klutzy person. So when I saw you do that, I was like, first thought was, wow, I could never. Second thought was, oh my gosh, I just can't believe it's amazing what the human body can do.
It's amazing. Like the human body, I tell people all the time, because we're starting this platform, and it's called Live Your Days. We're going to launch it in October. And basically our bodies are incredibly vulnerable, fragile, and it's susceptible to a lot of things, right? And excuse me, I got a little afternoon fog. And but they're also miraculously resilient. Like it's astounding what the body can go through and then come back, but ultimately temporary, right? So we got to kind of keep our eyes on our days, to make sure that we're living in the way we really want to live our days. And I always thought about that, going through all my stuff. It's like we all have our own identities, our own abilities, our own things that we're not very good at, things that we're very good at. And so we just got to take kind of stock of who we are and what we're about, and then just sort of really just pound on our abilities and just try to turn that into whatever, allow it to reveal our purpose. And I've always I've learned that early on, because skating, I started skating, and that came out of 4 years in hospitals. So I was kind of the sick kid all the time, and I wasn't growing, and I didn't have much development, like no muscle development at all. And my parents just needed a morning off. And so I got on the ice, and it was like, okay, I like everything about this. This works. Because I realized quickly that I could skate as well kids. And then I realized that I could skate as well as the best athletes in my grade. And this works. And then my health started to improve. And so my parents were like, okay,
yeah,
we're just going to do this, because the other 4 years were a waste of time. We should have gotten them on the ice earlier. And I started growing, and I started getting healthy and developing, and I started competing and taking tests and doing all that stuff. Then I played hockey a little bit, just to stop the teasing. And then after my second neck brace, I thought, okay, that's enough of that, and got back into figure skating full time. So it was really kind of a miraculous journey, because I really wasn't very good for a long time, and then I showed kind of like this whiff of fresh air, like success, and that went away. And then my mom passed away from cancer, and it just sort of woke me up, and I just sort of pushed all my chips in and said, I'm going all in on this thing, and I'm going to be the person that she always thought I could be. And so it really cleaned up my act at a very important time in my life and development. And then from then on, it was just like, woo, just started winning, started just overachieving. And then I was able to figure out a way to turn that into a professional career that, when you think about first steps on the ice to Olympic gold medal were 16 years. And then from first professional show to retirement was 20 years. That's fooling a lot of people. It's fooling a lot of people. But it was fun. It was hard work, like really hard. And I skated injured a lot and all that, but I was never going to miss a show. I was never, the only shows I missed was when I put my blade through the top of my other foot and I fractured my metatarsal shaft. And so I had to take 6 weeks off. That was a bummer. And then I got cancer and I had to go through chemo, so I wasn't skating. I had to miss some shows there too. But other than that, I was pretty consistent. I was always in.
I have to tell you, I grew up, like I said, watching you skate, but I also found your journey with your cancer and how you always rose above and found a way to come back and follow your passions. That's what I find incredibly inspirational, because life is crazy and it throws you curveballs even when you're either at the top of your game. But it's how you ride it out, and I just find you incredibly inspirational and motivational.
Oh, thank you. Well, I've been blessed beyond my wildest dreams. And so it's just, when something becomes kind of more than what you do, but who you are, and it gets threatened, I mean, that's kind of like you put everything on that. You just want to get back to it, right? So when I got the diagnosis, it was spring. It was March 17th, 1997. I got the diagnosis, and it was just like paralyzing. I mean, I was just like, all I saw was what my mom went through, and that's just suffering and diminishing. And I just saw me doing that. And then all of a sudden I woke up from that and I was like, no, I got work to do, because I may not be able to skate the rest of the tour, but I can work my tail off to get through all the treatments, get my health back, and be on next year's tour. And that was my carrot the whole time. It was like, I'll be the best patient you've ever had. I want to stay on time. I don't want to get behind. If I'm immune suppressed, I want to stay home, and I'm not going to go out. I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to give myself shots. I'll do whatever I need to do, because I want to be on next year's tour. And so, I was off the ice from March 17th until September 1st. I kind of had a green light go mid-August, but I had a 37 staple surgery in my abdomen. And so it's almost like if you have like regular stockings, right? And they're stretchy. And then you've got like the seam in the stocking, and that's what my abdomen was like. So I had to kind of break that down a little bit and just fight through that. And then build my strength back and build a stamina back, as one of the chemo drugs affected my lung capacity. And so, it was just sort of a long climb, but I was really determined, and I got back on tour the next year, and I couldn't do a full show when we debuted in Lake Placid in November, but by the time we opened in December, I had everything in. And what there was a big bad accident that happened. You want to hear about that?
Please.
So, I came up with these like crazy ideas, right? So that year, when I lost my mom, the movie A Star Is Born was really super popular with Chris Christopherson and Barbara Streisand. And there was this beautiful song in there with One More Look at You. And whenever I heard that song, I obviously thought of my mom. I just wanted one more look at her. And then when I was trying to figure out how to come back from cancer, all I really could think about was just standing center ice and looking at the audience again. But it's also that thing of, that song always reminds me of my mom. So I thought it was a perfect song to do. And so I reached out to a friend of mine who was a country singer named Gary Morrison. And I said, look, I got this song, and I don't know, I just want you to listen to it and see what you think. Because I want you to be singing when I get back on the ice, hopefully in October. And I want you singing this. And there's just no version of it that exists. And I really want you to do it. And so my whole thought was standing center ice and just having that with one more look at you, right? So that was one of the numbers, and Gary did a phenomenal job. He said when he sang it in the studio, he came into the control room and everybody was sobbing. He goes, I knew I did a good job. And then the other number, we came up with this outrageous idea. So that was kind of like the serious kind of, heart number. And I've always done comedy, right? So we came up with this goofy idea. I was having dinner with friends in Denver when I lived in Denver. And we were talking about crazy things to do. And they go, you ever, why don't you do something from The Wizard of Oz? And I thought for a second, and I go, why don't I do The Wizard of Oz? And they're like, what do you mean? I go, what if I played every single character in 4.5 minutes? And so it opened up and I was in black and white. I was like I had this costume that was pages of a book where I could switch characters quickly. And then there were things hidden in my sleeves and in my pants. And I played every character in The Wizard of Oz. After the tornado, it went from black and white to color, just like the movie, right? So the introduction went, ladies and gentlemen, due to circumstances beyond our control, every role in tonight's performance will be played by me. And then they pushed me out on the ice. And I was like, wait, how am I going to do this? So I thought it was 4.5 minutes. But, with my lung condition and everything, and I was in altitude Lake Placid, I was dying. I was just having the hardest time getting through this program. And we did it. We had to do it kind of custom, like with One More Look at You, because there was no way to edit the music together for it to make sense. And we needed the right voice. And it was insane. So, I had our production manager, I was doing a run through of the number with all the props, and then, we had a witch's hat come down and all these other things were happening. And I said, can you just put a stopwatch on this thing? And he goes, absolutely. So I finished the number and I was ready to barf because I was just so spent. And he goes, 6:25, boss. I'm like, what? I'm doing out of chemo. I'm doing a 6-minute and 25-second number.
Oh
that is the dumbest thing anyone in the history of the world has ever done. And I had to do it every single night on tour.
No.
And it was just it was the perfect thing because it forced me to get into the best shape of my life. And if I was going to get through the tour, I had to fight through this thing. And I lived in Denver, so I was training at altitude. And it was just the most fun thing ever. I had a blast doing it. And it was just, it was coming out of cancer. And that was my goal, to be back on the ice and come back in a big way. And a lot of people came to that year's tour and then every tour after that. So it was just really fun to come back with a statement. Yes, we can survive cancer. And not only survive cancer, but survive in a big way. And so that was kind of my message back then.
And you've went on to do a lot of charity work. And so would you just tell me about some of your favorite charities that you align with that maybe?
Well, I mean, it's like there's, I've got my own foundation, which is called CARES. And CARES stands for the Cancer Alliance for Research, Education, and Survivorship. And it's been around 20 plus years, 21 years actually. So it's old enough to, anyway, it was one of those things where when my mom died in 1977, I became a fundraiser, and we'd do ice shows in my hometown. We'd raise money, and and then after I came back from the Olympics, we did a big symphony event in Denver, and all the money went to cancer research and the symphony. And it was an amazing, super amazing event. And so I always thought, I'd just be a fundraiser. And then 20 years after I lost her, I went through my own battle with cancer. And in that, I learned just how much was missing in the cancer community for patients, how much they didn't really understand. And a lot of times people will fear something that they don't understand, or that if they don't understand, they'll fear it, right? So a lot of people didn't know what chemotherapy was. And so I always thought that it was, they wheel you into a room and then replace all your bodily fluids with something else. And it's not it at all. It's just chemical therapy. And so once I got into it, I asked a lot of questions, and I there wasn't enough answers, right? So I knew that the only way to really allow someone to get through the experience of chemotherapy and cancer were to have a mentor, and that is someone who's been there, done that. So we created the fourth angel mentoring program. The first angel is your oncologist, your second angel is your oncology nurse, your third angel is your friends and family, and the fourth angel is someone who's been there, done that, and then can like be a life coach and a mentor.
That's amazing.
And so it's pretty awesome. It's really awesome. I got to tell my son to pick up my daughter at soccer. He's still asleep. He works too hard.
Do your
Hold on one
kids
second.
skate?
My little one plays. My little one plays hockey. Used to play hockey, but he retired. He announced his retirement.
I
So
see.
yeah.
Well,
So
I just wanted to thank you so much. I'll let you get to your children, but thank you so much for your time and for just sharing your immense talent and your light with the world.
oh man, no, it's been a big ride, a lot of fun, a lot of work. But it's like we're given kind of these really interesting marching orders, as you have, and we just have to answer the call. We got to answer the call, and there's no no, right? So if someone were to ask you at a casting call, do you know how to ride a horse? You say absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like,
I mean, just and then you figure it out, right?
Oh yes,
And
I'll
so that's
tell
kind
you.
of like what we all have to do.
I have found myself in certain situations on set where I'm like, okay, I've never done stunts, but let's go 300 feet up in the air. All right. So, no.
That's it. If everybody were to just say yes instead of I don't know, I mean, I feel too good. Just say yes. Just say yes and just do it.
Because once I got up there, I was petrified to get up there. But once I got up there, I didn't want to come down because I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I see a whole new view. And you guys don't get to experience it down there. I felt it was special. So you're right. It's all about what comes out of it in the end, what you put in and what comes
just
out.
do it in faith and do it with joy, and we're all going to be okay.
Thank you so much. Stay well, and I'm sending you virtual hugs, Scott Hamilton.
Yay! All right. God bless you.
You too. Be well.
All right.
Oh my gosh. If I tell you guys, so that just made my childhood because I adore Scott. Watching his skating transported me. It took me somewhere as a kid because skating to me, it's something I could personally, like I could, do a few laps around the rink with my friends, but to train so hard and put so much into something and overcome so much and work through so much as Scott has, it's incredibly inspiring. So thank you for sharing that with me, Scott, and for making my childhood dream come true today. Yesterday, between talking to Joey Fatone, now Scott Hamilton, it is a week for my childlike heart. It's so happy, and I'm closing out LA on a perfect note. So thank you, Scott Hamilton, and I'll see you guys when I get back to New York. Bye.